Hello everyone, my name is Age of Chivalry, currently with a 10 gold bounty in Whiterun for stealing sweet rolls. Today we're going to be covering getting your start in LARP. Okay, so a couple of things to point out before we get started. One, is this one or two? One, this is more specific to swordcraft, however it can be adapted to other LARPs or your own purposes with minimal effort. You feel free to pick and choose what you want. The second thing is that this is based upon my 7 or 8 years worth of LARPing experience and is my opinion.
Oh my god.
And the third thing is this video probably has language in it. So if you're a young toddler or a child or you don't like swearing, I don't know. There are many new sections or phases that a LARP goer will go through during their career in LARP. Most notably awe, brokenness, and or regret. But the ones that I want to focus on today are induction and integration. Induction is applied to the community or hobby as a whole, whereas integration is more specific to a team or warband. Yeah. Okay. So you're fresh out of new player training. You've been told silly things like, "Whoa bro, that's a real sword, you can't bring that on field," and "Whoa bro, stop, you're actually gonna hurt someone," and "Oh god, my arm, there is so much blood." The common mistake I see people do is that they'll just join the warband that their friends are a part of, but let's be honest, you don't have any friends. I recommend new players run with about 4 or 5 new warbands or teams or squads, even if they have friends in the game, just so that you can experience a bit of variety before you start putting roots down. Because, you know, even if you don't choose those warbands or teams or squads, yeah, you're exposed to people. You have the potential to make some new friends, learn some new things, you know, so on and so forth. Because let's face it, most people that play LARP or are attracted to LARP, not the best with social interactions, probably high levels of anxiety, you know, and the more that you're exposed to that kind of shit, the more you have opportunities to get over it. Except for me, I'm fucking awesome. There's nothing wrong with me at all, ever. Alright, moving on to what a lot of people are mainly interested in, especially you cosplayer types. The costume. Don't get a costume. Unless you're a costume maker, your friends have costumes, or you're Scrooge McDuck and you have like $1 bajillion to spend on expensive pre-made costumes. Don't do it! Don't do it. Don't have one until you find a team or warband that you want to run with. Instead, play in what's called theatre blacks, which is just a dramatic way of saying plain all black. Furthermore, on not buying a costume, buying an expensive pre-made costume like this shirt for like $115 is kind of pointless when the warband that you're about to join or have just joined could have shown you how to make that for like $30 worth of materials. I mean, look at that thing. Does that look like it's worth $115 Australian? The correct answer is no. Even worse, it doesn't match your team's colors or aesthetic, so you've essentially just spent $115 on a glorified dish rag that's going to be banished to the back of your cupboard for all of eternity. And you can't sell that thing either. No one's gonna want your pit stains smelling up their zhuzh. I mean, it's $115. Do you know how much fabric I could buy for $115? Too much. That's how much. Save your money, join a team, then go ham. But not too ham. Watch this space, more to follow. Integration. Like the great Anakin Skywalker once said,
Fun begins.
So, you've chosen a warband. They've agreed to take you on. Perhaps you bribed them. Perhaps you offered them sexual favors. But the point is that you're in. And you're gold. This is the part where you can finally build up a costume. But for the love of God, please do not run and buy the coolest armor and sword that you can. Because that, my friend, is a surefire way of ending up broke and looking like you just walked out of a LARP's R Us. Instead, build up what we call soft kit. Now, this is things like hats, pants, sprays and hose, belts, tunics, etc. Depending on who's in your warband, they can help you make things like pants, sprays, hats, tunics for a fraction of the cost it would otherwise cost you if you bought it at a store. But that would exclude things like boots. You're going to have to invest in those. Unless you've got a cobbler in your warband. That would be pretty sick. I wish I had a cobbler in my warband. Now, do you know why you get your warband to help you make stuff? Because $115 for a tunic is fucking ridiculous. Now, speaking of footwear, that's something that I can suggest any player prioritize upon entering a warband. Get that shit sorted out immediately. They can be either medieval boots or Doc Marten lookalikes. It doesn't really matter. The name of the game is to just get rid of those white-soled running shoes as fast as possible. They are costume killers. And if you're trying to look anything like a badass, that is the fastest way to go about doing it. These are my boots. These are Forester boots from Arm Street. They cost about 126, I think. They did come with a flat sole. I, however, made the addition of this sole. I cut the bottoms off a old pair of shoes that had a pretty decent tread on them, and ever since I've done that, they have gone well past what I thought they would go till. There's a few people in the Swordcraft community that have bought them and they don't think that they last very well and they're shit quality. So it could be a bit hit or miss there, but it's an option that that has at least lasted me as long as they have, which is pretty good. That being said, if you don't have the money to spend on shoes, don't stress about it. Like, no one's gonna crucify you for having sneakers. It's just, you know, it's a bit strange to see a Dark Elf running around with Nike Air Maxes. In canon, they're supposed to be wearing Timbs. Moving on to the next crucial part of equipment that I'd probably recommend new players get is a battle belt. I mentioned it in my last video. In fact, I ranted about it in my last video. Now, a battle belt is composed of pouches and holsters for various LARP accessories and real-world accessories. It's configured in such a way that it is practical for combat and isn't just for looks. Alright, so this is the battle belt. It contains a sword frog, a phone pouch, a knife holster for like a little throwing sword that I can use, a pouch, very important, and a water bottle dump pouch. This is kind of cool because it can be used as both for water and for, you know, something that I need to dump. And then it's on a belt that I made myself. So just 4 or 5 items. You can even make some of these things. You don't need to buy it, and it can really help you out in the long run. So there's that. Now, technically, you can get around this. However, a good belt with a good admin system really saves you some stress. So it's beneficial to get it sooner rather than later. It just makes life so much easier when you don't have to worry about carrying everything. Except for the team, you won't ever have to worry about carrying them. Pouch for your phone, pouch for your water bottle, pouch for your wallet and keys. That's it. This not only adds to your costume, but offers a practical solution to some of the wackier fashions you'll be wearing, especially if they have a severe lack of pockets. Nam flashbacks over here. Finally, the last thing I can suggest most new players pick up is a Gambeson. Now, if you don't plan to wear armor, you can forego this entirely. However, to most of the aspiring knights in the crowd tonight, invest in a Gambeson. A lot of what you'll encounter in the LARP world will be poorly fitted to you and will start to chafe and irritate your skin. Kind of like I chafed and irritated your mum. Do not buy a Gambeson with a harsh sleeve head. What do I mean by this? Observe. This is a sleeve head. This is a sleeve head. The bigger this thing is, the more fitted to your shoulders it is. Example, a suit. It brings that like nice kind of right angle in to the sleeves. It also makes lifting your hands above your head incredibly hard. If you have to raise a sword above your head, you can see why this is an issue. Look for sleeves with very small sleeve heads. If you have already made this mistake, my condolences. Get the unpicker. Alright, now this is my Gambeson. You probably note the various attachment points for various armor. It's well loved. But yeah, very important for wearing armor. Now, if you're a goose and you bought the wrong Gambeson with an intense sleeve head, this is what you can expect. You're gonna have to unpick the arm and attach it just at the very tip. I don't know if you can see that. So it just flaps in the wind. Like, that's really the only way you can start using that Gambeson again, unless you fill it in with the fabric. But yeah, don't get a big sleeve head Gambeson. They're not good. Okay, armor. So this is a topic that really deserves its own video. However, I'm just gonna touch on the subject today. When purchasing armor, it is highly important that you do your own research. Talk to friends and teammates, read the reviews, read the product dimensions, subscribe for more content. Really do all your research. It's important to do this because when I bought a boatload of armor, it didn't fit right, it didn't work, and every single time I put it on, I was fighting myself and my teammate, and I was losing both battles. This is really frustrating, and it can quickly result in you throwing down the gauntlet against yourself and giving up. Don't do that. So before you go out and buy anything, get some advice, talk to the people that wear it, and learn that ever so lucrative power armor perk. That pretty much sums up everything that I wanted to talk about today. There's a few gaps here and there in my knowledge, but it's only my second video. Go easy. I might make a revised or summarized version a little bit later in the career, but I also did want to link some websites and talk about them before I finish up, just so that you can have some resources available for when you eventually do buy armor or whatever else.
First up, gotta rep the homies of Science and Swords. They're Australian and Melbourne based, and they show up and sell at the front of Swordcraft most nights. The products they offer tend to lean to the side of generic fantasy and LARP, but seeing as we're, a LARP, that's far from a bad thing. Especially considering they sell battle-safe LARP weapons and cosmetics for undead characters and the like. Next up, Medieval Fight Club. Medieval Fight Club are also Australian, so shipping time is pretty quick. They tend to have a lot of DIY stuff and a decent range of products from different time periods in real life. Even offering furniture, and I believe I saw some tents on there at one point. The quality can be a bit flimsy sometimes, however, I haven't actually had any of their products break on me yet. Next up is Arm Street. I own some of their Forester boots. They go alright, but I'd recommend gluing a second sole to make them last. They also offer some really cool armor. I do own some. However, the build quality can be a bit hit or miss from what I've seen. So if you do buy from them, have some spare rivets or some strong glue handy. Personally, my armor hasn't broken yet. I've modified it to decent success. However, this is one man's anecdote in a sea of variable anecdotes. So do with that what you will. Medieval Shop. Medieval Shop used to be good back in the day, but I've seen it fall off a little in recent times. They're basically Medieval Fight Club, but with a little bit less to offer. That being said, you can find some pretty unique gear on there from time to time. Ah yes, now we come to Steel Mastery. Now personally, I haven't bought anything from here, mainly because it's really fucking expensive, but it does act as a decent archive of information. And if you just so happen to be a Saudi prince, you might actually be able to buy something from there.
Alright, and that's all I've got for today. If you have any questions or concerns, please comment them down below and I will answer in the most vague way possible. Thank you all for watching. Okay, thanks, bye. Instead, play in what's colloquially known as theater blacks. Now, technically, you can get around this, but it makes life so much. Hello, Andrew. She's still going. Oh man, she's still going.